Welcome to Botany. I look forward to meeting you on Monday. The course will go live at midnight on Monday morning. In the meantime, let's take a tour of the course in this video. So when you enter, you will always land on this page, which contains the news and some helpful links. The news are important to look after. Oftentimes, students ask me questions, and look, all the information is right here. They're scheduled to release throughout the semester, and then also I add news items as questions arise or confusion mounts about a lab or something like that. But you can see that there's a treasure trove of information here, so make sure you pay attention. And I also post videos, short lecture videos here in the announcements as well. Okay. All right, so if you ask me where something is and I tell you something about the main navigation bar, this is what I'm talking about here. This is how you're going to access all your course information. So we're currently in course home. In content, you can access a table of contents here on the left, and this gives you all the course components in a logical sequence and in these packets of learning outcomes called modules, okay? So when you click on a page, you can use these arrows to advance through the information. And whatever page you stop on when you open the book again, or excuse me, when you open the class again, you'll be there. We're going to use an e-text in this course. This e-text appears here in the link. So you'll go through here to get into our study resources, our quizzes, and our electronic textbook. Now, this is the most logical sequence, but I personally use this main navigation bar most of the time. Every time you come to class, you should go into the discussions. Discussions are the formative learning place. It's like coming to class. This is where you ask questions. I help you to hone your knowledge. Your fellow students help you to do that with their contributions. And if you follow the rubric, you will receive full credit in discussions. It really does help pad your assessment grade. So don't ignore the discussions. Go there first whenever you come to class. You're reading the announcements when you land on the home page and coming to the discussions. On this very first day of class, you should introduce yourself here. Okay, now let's look at the assignment. So discussions are linked here, but in the Dropbox, you'll find both assignments related to our final project and our lab work. And each assignment has its own Dropbox. These assignments have due dates. They do not lock, however, so if something comes up, please, please, please communicate with me before the deadline passes. My major concern is that you communicate with me in a timely fashion and in a professional way, and I will be flexible. But if you make up excuses all semester after the fact, I am not going to take pity on you. Okay. Now, we do have quizzes, but when you click here, it says there are currently no quizzes available, and that's because, remember, your quizzes are going to come through this e-text. Your grades can be viewed here. In communication, this is how I want you to email me. Use the internal messaging tool. You can go to the class list and click on me and send me an email that way. Only use the external CCCS email if you have an emergency or something like that. I do this as the first step every time I come to the class. Just like how you read the announcements and go to discussion, I come in and read my email and then go to discussion. In the tools, I recommend you do a system check. This just makes sure that your browser is set up properly, and then if you're having trouble, you can find information about the help desk here. Now, let's just take a quick moment to think about the major assignments in this course. So we have lab work. You'll get a box in the mail. The labs are within the course, the information for the labs, okay? So you'll see here, the pre-lab does not require the lab kit. You will just do this on your own, but in subsequent modules, the lab information is right here in the course, and this is the document that you're going to submit to that Dropbox we looked at before. Your Learn Smart assignments are study assignments. These are adaptive reading, adaptive study program. So when you go into the Learn Smart assignment, you can read your entire book this way. You can read it through the Learn Smart assignments. You don't have to read it and then do them after. It all depends on how you feel about technology. But the thing that's wonderful about this is you go through the textbook just as we're going through the course here, but then periodically it asks you questions. And if you get these questions right, you know, it kind of breezes past those learning outcomes. But if you get them wrong, then it reinforces that learning and highlights the textbook in those places so you can go back and review that information. So I think the Learn Smart is an excellent tool, and that is part of your assignments here. And then you have one term project. In every module, there will be an assignment related to it. And so the first thing we'll do is pick a topic. So you're going to want to look at the learning outcomes in the syllabus and start thinking about what that topic may be long before we get to that learning in the course, okay? So here are the general competencies, but then here we have all of these learning outcomes. And essentially you're going to choose one of these and you're going to write a research paper about it. And you are not going to necessarily write a research paper about these specific statements, but for example, recognize plants in different stages of growth and development. Perhaps you would study a single plant of interest to you and meet that learning outcome by explaining how it grows and develops. You will have a peer-reviewed literature component to this assignment. So in the first module, you're going to pick that topic and find a few articles. And then the next, you're going to do some annotations of articles. You're going to submit an outline, a first draft. There's the topic and citations. And finally, the final draft. The discussions are linked. Some discussions are linked to that final paper. So here we're talking about the scientific method. As we move down, the collaborative study is based on just generally your reading, no specific topic, but then we have a second discussion in each module that often aligns with this research paper project, where you can start to do your homework in essence in discussion, get some feedback, and then submit through the Dropbox. Sometimes that second discussion is about a specific topic, but if this can be aligned broadly or closely to the topic that you think you want to do your final paper on, great. What I want you to hear me saying is efficiency is key. You know, think about that final project and think about the thing that floats your boat and then try to drive all your work in the class towards that. So write discussion posts about it. For example, I had a student who was really into bonsai horticulture. So he really drove towards that learning throughout the semester in these assignments. So there you have it. Let me know if you have questions. Ask those questions when you introduce yourself in the student introduction discussion. Okay, have a great weekend.